Captain Leo Amari gripped the edge of the crumbling balcony, his eyes scanning the sprawling landscapes of Xyloria. The ancient citadel loomed behind him, its once grand architecture now a tapestry of vines and decay. This planet, filled with mystery and rumors of greatness, had been marked as a key location for humanity's peace mission with the Varanti. Captain, the voice of his first officer, Lieutenant Sarah Chin, broke his focus. She stood a few feet away, her brow furrowed with concern. Do you really think we'll convince them? They're known for being difficult. Leo turned to her, his expression serious. We have to try, Sarah. If we can ally with the Varanti, we can secure our future in this sector. Sarah nodded, though skepticism clouded her eyes. Just remember, they value power and pride. We'll need to tread carefully. Before Leo could respond, a commotion erupted inside the citadel. He and Sarah rushed through the arched doorway into a grand hall lined with shimmering crystals that illuminated the dust motes drifting through the air. Varanti nobles, clad in intricately woven fabrics, stood in clusters, their eyes fixed on a small podium at the front. As they entered, an imposing figure stepped forward. An elder Varanti, his skin a deep cobalt blue, raised his hand, silencing the murmurs. You may present your case, human, he said, his voice rich and commanding. Leo took a deep breath, stepping to the front. Esteemed elders of the Varanti, he began, I'm Captain Leo Amari of the United Terran Federation. We come in peace, seeking alliance and mutual advancement. A murmur spread through the assembly, and Leo noticed a young Varanti noblewoman stepping forward, her vibrant violet eyes narrowing as she scrutinized him. What makes you believe we would even consider such a proposition, human? She challenged, her tone sharp. Leo felt a surge of determination. The galaxy is changing. We can either stand by and let chaos dictate our futures, or we can choose to collaborate. Her expression was unreadable. You expect us to join a race that has only recently begun to wander the stars? I expect us to work together to find common ground. We both face threats that could undermine our existences, he replied, maintaining eye contact. We've seen the fragility of life and the cost of conflict. Is that so? She said, tilting her head slightly. And what do you propose? An exchange of culture? Technology? Your empty promises. Not empty, Leo pressed. Real benefits for both sides. You may have advanced technology, but we bring sheer determination and a proven history of survival. Together, we can forge an unmatched alliance. She regarded him silently, her eyes flickering with intrigue. The tension in the hall was palpable. Why am I, Colorad Vorin, speaking to you? She said, stepping closer. You could never understand the weight of power. I might not grasp your history, but I can learn, Leo replied. Understanding begins with dialogue and trust. Colora scoffed, turning her back to the audience. Trust is not given freely, Captain. As the debate continued, Leo invited Colora's skepticism by addressing her directly. What would it take for you to trust me? She spun around, her voice firm, demonstrating your value. Show us you're worthy of more than just words. Then leave it to me, Leo replied with a nod. You'll see. Colora's gaze softened just momentarily, a flicker of curiosity lighting her eyes. The elder Varanti raised a hand, gesturing to quiet the crowd. We'll consider your proposal. But know this, any hint of betrayal will be met with consequences. With that, Leo withdrew, heart pounding with both excitement and trepidation. As he and Sarah exited the citadel, she turned to him. What are you going to do to prove yourself? Leo shrugged, deep in thought. I need to demonstrate our strength, perhaps a display of technology, or something that highlights our ingenuity. Perhaps a demonstration of skills? Sarah suggested, crossing her arms. That will show them we're adaptive. Leo nodded, invigorated. You might be onto something. Let's gather our best engineers and set up something impressive. Something they can't ignore. Sarah smirked. Oh, I can already imagine the Varanti faces when they see what we can do. Later that evening, Leo and Sarah organized a demonstration. They transformed an open area near the citadel into a showcase of humanity's technology. As the sun dipped below the horizon, they unveiled the holographic displays integrated with advanced AI systems. The Varanti dignitaries gathered, their eyes wide with curiosity. Colora's gaze lingered on Leo, assessing him once more. This is just an introduction, Leo announced, voice echoing through the crowd. What you see here is just the start of our capabilities. As the holographs depicted advanced structures and engineering marvels, Leo could sense Colera's interest peaking. He pointed out various features of their technology, explaining how it could assist in fields like energy exploration and agriculture. Interesting, Colera remarked, stepping closer again. But we need more than just flashy displays. What do you want to see? Leo asked, his gaze unwavering. Show us something that can assist in our daily lives, she replied, folding her arms. Something that works with our agriculture, something practical. Practical? Leo mused, considering the challenge. What if we combine our resources? Create an agricultural enhancer? She raised an eyebrow. You would attempt to mix human technology with Varanti practices? Why not? It's about synergy, Leo declared with enthusiasm. Let's break the boundaries between our worlds. We can learn from each other. Colera studied him again, her lips twitching as if she were fighting back a smile. Perhaps you're not merely an empty vessel after all. Then let's put our skills to the test, Leo grinned. What do you say? Intrigued, Colera finally nodded, her interest visibly drawn to the excitement unfolding before them. Very well, Captain. I'll join you in this venture. But let's ensure it goes as planned. I promise, Leo said, the thrill of possibility rushing through him. He couldn't help but feel that maybe, against all odds, this partnership could lead somewhere meaningful. As they worked together, sharing ideas and philosophies, Leo sensed the beginnings of a bond that transcended their respective races. Maybe in forging a connection with Colera, they would not only unite their civilizations but each other as well. Chapter 2: Threads of Tension. The following morning, Leo found himself seated at a long, intricately carved table in the Varanti dining hall. A colorful spread of alien delicacies was laid out before him, dishes that radiated unfamiliar scents and hues. Colera had invited him to breakfast, and though the food intrigued him, it was her presence that captivated him more. You're going to eat that one? Sarah whispered to Leo as she sat down beside him, eyeing the greenish gelatinous mass on Leo's plate. I figured I'd give it a shot, Leo replied, trying to sound enthusiastic. What's the worst that could happen? Colera chuckled from across the table, her violet eyes sparkling with amusement. I see your friend is more adventurous than you. Sarah rolled her eyes. Adventurous? More like reckless. Reckless is what keeps life interesting, Leo interjected, smirking. And besides, I'm here to impress you. Is that so? Colera teased, leaning toward him. Impressing is not just about the meal. Hold on, Sarah interjected, trying to steer the conversation back. We need to focus on today's meeting. We can't afford any slip-ups. Colera nodded, her demeanor suddenly serious. True. The council will be scrutinizing every word. Leo glanced at Colera, feeling a mix of determination and excitement. Then let's make sure our presentation is flawless. With the atmosphere shifting, the group finished their meal and prepared for the upcoming demonstration. Leo and Colera stood on a raised platform outside the citadel, surrounded by curious Varanti delegates. As they began to explain their plan to enhance Varanti agriculture, Leo sensed the weight of their expectations pressing down on them. We're here to show you how our technologies can intertwine, Leo announced, gesturing towards the holographic projector they had set up. Colera has shared some insightful data about Varanti farming, which we've melded with human agricultural practices. Colera stepped forward, her confidence radiating as she elaborated. With your traditional methods and our innovations, we can significantly increase crop yield. Imagine this, sustainable farming that not only feeds our people but also conserves our environment. One elder Varanti raised an eyebrow. Sustainable? Can you substantiate that? Absolutely, Leo replied, pressing a button on the control panel. Holograms materialized, displaying innovative techniques. Here's an example of our vertical farming system integrated with your methods. This design maximizes space while minimizing resource use. Colera leaned closer to Leo, whispering, make sure to highlight the benefits to our water preservation too. Right, Leo acknowledged, feeling her warmth beside him. Varanti agriculture uses a lot of water. By using these systems, we can reduce consumption while improving nutrition. As they continued their presentation, Leo noticed Colera's enthusiasm blooming like a flower. They exchanged glances, bolstered by each other's energy. Can this system withstand our environmental conditions? Another delegate inquired, skepticism etched on his features. Absolutely, Colera responded confidently. The materials are suitable for varying climates, including drought-prone areas. We've created prototypes designed specifically with your environment in mind. Leo added, and once we establish a working relationship, our technology can adapt as needed. We can work together as the conditions change. Together? Colora echoed, a spark igniting in her eyes. Can you envision a cooperative council between our peoples? A shared goal? Yes, Leo said, enthusiasm bubbling up. Imagine trade routes not just for goods, but ideas. We can create a network that transcends our worlds. Their vision resonated with the delegates, and more questions flowed forth. Leo and Colora exchanged ideas fluidly, their dynamic captivating even the most hesitant onlookers. Later, as the presentation concluded, Colora turned to Leo, her expression a mix of pride and elation. You were incredible. I felt the energy between us. You too, Leo replied, grinning. We make a good team. As they stepped off the platform, Leo felt a wave of relief wash over him. I think we did it. What do you mean think? That was a hit. Sarah chimed in, joining them. Colora looked thoughtful. We still need to secure final approval. The council will weigh their options carefully. Understood, Leo said, keeping his composure. We can't let up now. We've shown them potential, but we need to follow through. Perhaps a tour of your agricultural facilities. Colora nodded, enthusiasm reigniting her energy. Yes, let them see the work in action. They'll grasp the necessity. So what's next? Sarah asked, her brightness returning. Next, Leo said, determination sharpening his voice, is a deeper dive into Varanti methods. We can't just scratch the surface. If we're going to convince them, we need to learn everything. Sounds exhausting, Sarah joked. Everything of value requires effort, Leo reminded her, earning a chuckle as they made their way to the Varanti gardens. The gardens were an impressive sight. Greenery sprawling widely, with vibrant alien plants that seemed to shimmer in their uniqueness. Colora led them down a winding path, explaining the intricacies of the Varanti cultivation process. Here, we use a technique called root lattice, she said, pointing to an intricate web of plant roots intertwined. This keeps soil quality high while encouraging biodiversity. Leo knelt down to take a closer look, intrigued. This could work perfectly with the data we have. Colora smiled at his enthusiasm. Exactly. And imagine how our methods can enhance each other. I'd love for you to try Hansen planting. Count me in, Leo said, looking up at her. Let's dig in. As they worked together in the gardens, a playful atmosphere emerged. Colora handed Leo a small pouch of seeds, her fingers brushing against his. Careful, these are delicate. You can't just toss them around. Leo laughed. Then I'll be extra gentle. Carefully, he planted the seeds as Colora instructed. With each shared task, they grew closer, an unspoken connection flourishing in tandem with the plants. See, Colora teased. You're a natural. Maybe you should make this your full-time gig. Trust me, Leo replied, wiping his brow. I much prefer flying starships, less dirt. Colora chuckled again, and Leo felt warmth spread in his chest. You know, I never imagined working side by side with a human could be this enjoyable. Likewise, Leo said softly, stealing glances at her radiant smile. You've certainly changed my perspective about Varanti. Their laughter filled the air, the sound capturing the attention of nearby delegates. They exchanged knowing looks, a mixture of skepticism and intrigue playing on their faces. Perhaps their partnership is more than just business, one murmured to the others. As the day progressed, they wrapped up their work with a sense of accomplishment. But as they returned to the citadel, Leo felt a renewed sense of urgency. We have to keep this momentum going, he said, determination etched on his face. Let's meet with the council and secure our future. Colora nodded, her expression serious. I'll stand beside you, Leo. Together we can convince them. Feeling invincible, they headed for the council chambers, ready to navigate the uncertain tides that lay ahead. Chapter 3, The Turning Point. The council chamber buzzed with anticipation as Leo and Colora entered. The room was steeped in tradition, adorned with intricate carvings depicting the rich history of the Varanti civilization. Elders sat in a semicircle, their expressions serious and scrutinizing. Captain Amari, one of the elder figures, beckoned. You have made quite the impression with your recent demonstrations. Thank you, Elder Xander, Leo said, stepping forward with Colora by his side. We're here to discuss our proposal in greater depth. Colora took a deep breath and gestured to Leo. We believe a partnership could yield mutual benefits. We've prepared a segmented agenda to highlight our objectives. Highlights. Elder Xander raised a skeptical brow. Do enlighten us. Leo felt a surge of determination as he opened a tablet, projecting their plans onto a screen for the council to see. First, we propose a joint agricultural initiative that combines our technologies and practices to enhance crop yields sustainably. And what guarantees do you have that this collaboration will work? Asked another elder, his voice laced with skepticism. Kalura has graciously shared insights into Varanti practices, Leo replied, glancing at her. We've identified several areas where our strengths can enhance existing techniques. By doing this together, we innovate. Kalura added, our experimental prototypes are already showing promise. We invite you to examine our findings. Elder Zura, an older woman with sharp features, leaned forward in her chair. How do we know this isn't merely a ploy to extract resources from us? Leo met her gaze steadily. If we wanted resources, we would not risk our relationship with you. Our aim is collaboration for progress, not exploitation. Elder Zura pursed her lips, unconvinced. She turned to her colleagues, murmuring softly. You must understand, Kalura interjected, her voice firm. This isn't just about agriculture. It's about establishing a bond and alliance that strengthens us both. Another elder spoke up, and what does that bond entail? Will it involve sharing technology or just ideals? Leo stepped forward. Sharing technology will come naturally if trust is built. Imagine trading innovations that could improve both our societies. What we develop together can advance our respective cultures. Kalura nodded emphatically. You faced challenges in the past, just as we have. Sharing knowledge equips us to tackle those challenges as one. This is a chance for growth. Growth, yes, but at what cost? Elder Xander countered, crossing his arms. What if your people fail to uphold their end of the partnership? What if? Leo responded, feeling the weight of the moment. But you're putting a limit on potential before we've even begun. In our hearts, we value growth too, Kalura added, her expression earnest. A mutually beneficial relationship will require vulnerability and communication. We'd work for fairness, for transparency. Another elder, Yorin, leaning back in his chair, suddenly spoke. Do you truly believe a human and a Varanti can forge an alliance strong enough to withstand historical tensions? Yes, Leo said, his voice unwavering. Kalura and I are here, standing together. This represents what we hope to accomplish not just for ourselves but for our people. Kalura smiled at him, and Leo felt a rush of warmth, their connection deepening as he continued. We can bring our people together through this. The elders whispered among themselves, and Leo sensed the tension in the room. The air felt thick with anticipation, every heartbeat echoing with uncertainty. Let's look at your methods, Elder Zura finally said. Show us the results from your agricultural experiments. Kalura stepped over to the projector again, navigating through the data with confidence. We have established test plots that utilize a combination of Varanti techniques and human technology. Here are the results over the past few months. As she highlighted various data points, Leo watched the expression on the elders' faces shift from skepticism to curiosity. The projections illustrated a clear increase in crop yield, soil health, and water conservation. Impressive, Elder Zura conceded, her voice begrudgingly respectful. But you realize this is but a single data point in a long line of questions. Of course, Leo replied, rising to the challenge. But imagine expanding those experimental plots across Xyloria. We could develop an entire program that evolves with feedback from both our scientists and farmers. Yorin leaned forward, intrigued. And how would you implement this program? By forming a dual council, Kalura suggested. A body of representatives from both races, overseeing operations and troubleshooting alongside our scientists. What about economic implications? Elder Xander pressed. Increasing food production also means managing distribution and pricing. How are you prepared for that? We will create a framework that ensures fairness for both our peoples, Leo assured them. This means establishing agreements on pricing and sharing insights on distribution logistics. Take a significant step. I have one more question. Are you prepared to share the consequences of failure? Leo exchanged a glance with Kalura, both knowing what the question entailed. Yes, Leo answered firmly. If we fail, we will accept the repercussions. But if we SD, we could open doors to an alliance that enriches us both. An air of contemplation settled in the chamber, their united front palpable. Kalura kept her gaze on Leo, her trust evident. Then Elder Xander said at last, "We shall present your proposal to the council as a matter of serious consideration. But understand this, your actions in the upcoming months will dictate the trust we place in you." Leo's heart raced, excitement mingling with nerves. "Thank you, Elder. We won't let you down." As the council meeting concluded, Cholera turned to Leo with a grin, her eyes sparkling. "That was incredible. I can't believe they actually considered it," he said, feeling lighter than air. "We're one step closer," she replied. "But the real work begins now. And we'll face it together," Leo said, "because that's what partners do." Cholera smiled, the warmth between them radiating like the most vibrant star. Together. As they stepped out of the chamber, Leo felt an undeniable shift in their relationship. What had started as a tense negotiation slowly transformed into a partnership that held the promise of something greater. With each passing moment, Leo found excitement coursing through him, a journey they both had dared to embark upon, ready to navigate the twists and turns together. Chapter 4, Bound by Fear and Hope. The sunlight filtered through the expansive windows of the Varanti Agricultural Lab, casting playful patterns on the floor. Leo stood alongside Cholera as they reviewed their first set of experimental plots, the scent of fresh earth surrounding them. Despite their earlier success with the council, uncertainty weighed heavily in Leo's mind. "This is our opportunity," Cholera said, lifting a small data ad to check the growth rates of the crops they'd installed weeks earlier. "These initial results already show promise." "Promise and pressure," Leo replied, running a hand through his hair. "Every success gives them more fuel to hold us accountable. If we fail, I don't want to think about that." Cholera turned to face him, her violet eyes steady. "Failure is a part of growth. If we only focus on the outcome, we risk losing the entire experience." "I understand that," but Leo trailed off, wrestling with his apprehensions. "What if they don't see the potential? What if they consider us a threat?" "Then we'll demonstrate our value," she assured him, her voice unwavering. "Today's assessments will be pivotal." As they walked toward the plots, Sarah joined them, her brow furrowed. "Did I hear the word failure? Is everything okay?" "Everything's fine," Leo replied, forcing a smile. "Just some pre-launch jitters." "More like pre-launch existential dread," Sarah teased. "You both have a way of making everything sound so elaborate." "Maybe it's the Varanti influence," Cholera joked, lightening the mood. "We do have a penchant for the dramatic." "Let's save the performance for when we have good news," Leo said, gesturing toward the plots. "Let's see what we have here." As they approached the first plot, they were met with a vibrant array of plants. Cholera knelt to inspect them closely while Leo and Sarah hovered nearby, exchanging glances. "Looks promising," Sarah said, her skepticism still lingering. Cholera grinned as she gently tugged at one of the plants. "These roots are deeply established. They're thriving." Leo adjusted his stance, nerves still buzzing. "Thrive is good. How do we present this data to the council? Is it compelling enough?" "We'll compile everything into a report," Cholera suggested. "Visuals work wonders. Photos, growth metrics, soil quality assessments, we make it sound impressive." "Sounds simple enough," Leo said, beginning to feel more confident. "If the council believes in what we're doing, the rest will follow." "Let's make sure they're sold on it from the start," Sarah added, her enthusiasm returning. "What's next for the tour?" "Following this, we're visiting the hybrid plots," Cholera instructed, straightening up. "They should showcase tangible progress and creativity." "Perfect," Leo remarked, grinning. "Let's show them we've got what it takes." Once they moved to the hybrid plots, they found an impressive mix of Varanti and human agricultural techniques on display. Cholera pointed to the taller structures. "These vertical gardens incorporate our roots and your growth cycles. The results speak for themselves." "Let's hope the council thinks so too," Leo said, feeling a twinge of anxiety return. "Just remember," Cholera advised, nudging him playfully, "this is a team effort. Don't act like it's all on you." Right, he chuckled but felt the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders nonetheless. As they continued through the rows of plants, Sarah pulled Leo aside. "Is everything okay? You seem off." "It's just," he hesitated, choosing his words carefully. "What if the council decides we're not worth the risk?" "I can't shake off that feeling." Sarah placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "Listen, if they can see the results with their own eyes, you have to trust in that. You're not going to lose this." "What if they saw that differently? What if they dismiss what we've done?" Leo's voice was tense, the fear creeping up. "They're going to see the results," she insisted. "But it's a good thing you have Cholera. She's going to stand by you." Leo took a deep breath, exhaling slowly. "You're right. Cholera will fight for this." As they joined Cholera again, she was explaining the planting process to another Varanti observer, gesturing energetically. "The incorporation of different species allows us to create a symbiotic relationship between plants. It's beneficial for everyone involved. See? Leo said quietly to Sarah. She's got this. Absolutely, Sarah agreed, her eyes brightening. You both make an incredible team. They concluded the tour, and the day transitioned into preparation for the impending council presentation. That evening, Kol-Lora set a gathering for the delegation in a spacious hall within the citadel where they could present their findings and await the council's decision. You think the elders will be there? Leo asked, pacing within their meeting space. Of course, Kol-Lora replied, laying out the large data sheets across a table. They'll want to see our progress and the implications directly. What if it's not enough? Leo couldn't suppress the uncertainty clawing at him. Kol-Lora approached him, her expression softening. What's important is that we trust in our work and in each other. We've made strides, take a moment to appreciate that. Leo's shoulders relaxed, the warmth of her words resonating within him. You're right. We've done good work and it's worth sharing. As if sensing the shift, Sarah interjected, besides, we've got the visual aids and personal stories from both sides. That'll have an impact. Let's aim for emotional connection, Kol-Lora suggested. If we illustrate how our partnership can benefit people, we have a greater chance. Agreed. We'll make them see the bigger picture, Leo responded, fueled by newfound determination. Later, as they gathered around the presentation table, surrounded by supportive staff and advisors, Kol-Lora's eyes sparkled with determination. Let's get started. Together, we can make this work. The hall filled with Varanti elders soon became an audience for their efforts. As the presentation unfolded, Kol-Lora spoke passionately about the benefits seen in the fields, her voice echoing through the chamber. Leo followed her lead, presenting data and visuals, sharing personal anecdotes about life on Earth and how a joint effort could transcend their past. Imagine, he said, locking eyes with the council members, what we could create by combining our efforts. Growing crops, nurturing lives, sharing innovations, it wants for us. With each word, he could see a mix of skepticism and curiosity blooming in the elders' expressions, and he knew they were engaging with the vision. As the presentation concluded, disabling the projector, Kol-Lora brushed her fingertips against the surface space beside Leo. It's in their hands now, she inhaled deeply, ready for questions. Let's hope they see it, Leo said, adrenaline coursing through him. We've shown them passion, Kol-Lora replied, drawing closer. That matters just as much as profit. And as the council deliberated, he realized their efforts weren't just about technology or collaboration. They were about forging something meaningful together, moving forward in tandem despite their histories. Chapter 5, A New Dawn. The sun rose over Xyloria, casting a golden hue that draped the citadel in warmth. Leo stood at the balcony of his room, staring out at the lush landscape. He couldn't shake the anticipation churned by the council's decision, which would change everything for the humans and Varanti alike. Morning. Sarah's voice interrupted his thoughts as she entered the room. She was armed with steaming mugs of what she claimed was Varanti coffee. We need to celebrate before the council meeting. Celebrate? Leo replied, taking a mug and taking a cautious sip. I'd rather wait until after we hear their decision. I'm not sure what we're celebrating yet. Oh, come on, Sarah said, her eyes dancing with excitement. We've done all the hard work and there's no point in waiting for a verdict you can't control. Besides, Kol-Lora's been going nonstop preparing her reports. Fair point, Leo admitted, a grin forming. But joy feels like an extravagance when our future hangs in the balance. Exactly. Sarah clinked her mug with his. Just a tiny bit of joy before everything goes down. Before Leo could respond, Kol-Lora entered, looking energized despite the early hour. I see there's celebration in the air? Care for me to join? Absolutely. Sarah beamed, pouring Kol-Lora a cup. You need it. You've been working tirelessly, and it's time to let loose a little. Kol-Lora accepted the mug, taking a moment to inhale the rich aroma before taking a sip. Delicious. I might need this every morning if we SD. Leo felt the warmth of camaraderie fill the small room. We're all in this together. Let's ensure the council understands who we are and what we can accomplish. Kol-Lora's expression shifted, seriousness coming to the surface. We've put a lot of effort into this presentation. I hope the elders see the value in partnering. They will, Sarah said confidently. You've both put together a brilliant case. It's all about how well we convey that. Right, Leo chimed in. Let's focus on making it compelling. Kol-Lora, you should lead the discussion. Your insights are invaluable. Kol-Lora smiled at him appreciatively. Together is the approach as always. Your support means a lot. Hours later, in the Grand Council chamber, the atmosphere buzzed with tension and uncertainty. Varanti delegates settled into their seats while Leo and Kol-Lora stood before them, flanked by their supporting team. As the elders filed in, Leo felt the pressure building as the moment of truth approached. Welcome, Elder Xander began, his voice steady. Today, we acknowledge the collaboration suggested by Captain Leo Amari and Kullara Dvorin. Have the two of you prepared for us? Kullara stepped forward, her posture confident yet respectful. Thank you, Elder Xander. We appreciate this opportunity. What we present today goes beyond technology. It encompasses a vision for our shared future. Yes, Leo added, stepping beside her. A future where we both thrive, enabling our cultures to grow through collaboration. Kullara began detailing their findings. Leo watched, captivated by her commanding presence. Our experiments demonstrate the synergy between Viranti and human agricultural techniques. Not only do we see higher yields, but our approach fosters community learning and resilience. Resilience? Elder Zura's brow furrowed. Can you clarify? Of course, Kullara continued. By combining our strengths, we are preparing for unpredictable environmental changes. We learn from one another, adapting and changing through direct collaboration on the ground. Leo chimed in, we also recognize the importance of ensuring equitable distribution of resources. Together we can establish trade routes that focus on both quality and accessibility. Elder Xander leaned forward. Equity in resources, you say? Explain how you'd regulate this. Here's the plan, Leo said, drawing the council's attention. We propose a council that includes representatives from both races overseeing every aspect from production to distribution. It's about transparency. Could you elaborate on the distribution efficiency? Asked Elder Yorin, intrigued by the prospect. Kullara used the holographic projector to display graphs and charts. Imagine a network that connects various communities. Each consortium may focus on specific crops that best suit their environmental conditions while still trading with others for what they lack. Interesting, Elder Zura conceded. What happens if disputes arise over shared resources? Leo met her gaze directly. Then we will resolve them with clear protocols and mediation councils accessible to both parties. Kullara nodded, her confidence resolute. This would minimize conflict and strive for mutual benefit. As the presentation progressed, Leo felt the collective tension shifting. Council members leaned in, engaged with the details rather than apprehensive or skeptical. Is there room for reevaluation based on performance? Elder Zura inquired thoughtfully. Absolutely, Kullara explained. Our initial agreement can be temporary, reevaluated after a set period. If improvements are seen, we can deepen the partnership. Leo sensed the momentum building as he scanned the room, noting the inclination of the elders. The values we stand for, sustainability, cooperation, innovation, could shape the very foundation upon which we build this partnership. He glanced at Kullara, sharing a knowing look that confirmed their shared vision. As the presentation wrapped up, Leo felt their hard work had not gone unnoticed. Elder Xander stood, contemplating their proposal. You've brought forth compelling arguments. The potential is certainly there. We will need to deliberate on your proposal and get back to you shortly. The chamber filled with murmurs, and Leo turned to Kullara, whose expression reflected cautious optimism. Do you think they'll truly consider it? They will discuss it seriously, Kullara replied, her voice steady. We've presented our case well. Returning to the hallway, a mixture of anticipation and anxiety hung heavily in the air. As they exited the chamber, Leo's heart raced. What do we do now? Now we wait, Sarah said, her voice composed. But we've done everything we could. That's what matters. They gathered in a nearby alcove, Kullara leaning against the stone wall, her arms crossed. Regardless of their decision, I am grateful for this experience. It has deepened my connection with both of you. Leo's expression softened, and he stepped closer. You've taught me more than I could have imagined. This partnership has shifted perspectives on both sides. It's more than just an arrangement, Kullara added, her gaze meeting his. It's about understanding each other, about forming bonds that transcend our races. As they stood there, the air hummed with unspoken understanding. Leo reached out, lightly brushing Kullara's arm. Together, we've forged something resilient. She smiled at him, the warmth in her eyes sending a jolt through him. We're not finished yet. As the sun began to set, casting an amber glow over Xyloria, Leo felt a wave of hope wash over him. Whatever the council's decision, they had paved the way for a new chapter, the foundation of a partnership built through hard work, shared vision, and an evolving bond that connected their destinies in unpredictable ways.